Hello, my beautiful herpreneurs. Welcome to the Startup Herpreneurs with Marisa Moris today. And let me tell you, I'm super excited to have Marisa Moris here. She is a spiritual intuitive, a clairvoyant channel, and quantum Reiki master teacher. She is the creator and founder of Intuition, where she offers readings, healings, and teachings in mediumship, intuition development, meditation, Christ-centered New Age studies. She is all over the place. Yeah, she's like, she's all over the place. But she is the most amazing person thus far. Her and I had a 30-minute conversation before even starting this recording. She has so much to teach you and so much going on. So I first have to start off with, Marisa, what's it like to have a spiritual business?
It's weird.
Perfect way to start off.
It's weird. It's very strange to have a spiritual business because I don't know if people know about like different energy centers and stuff, but like I teach about in my book, which we'll get into in a little bit, we have different rooms or perspectives in how we see life. And so when you mix business with spirituality, people get really weird, sort of like, oh, you're charging people for your gifts? Like how dare you, And I'm like, well, you're a doctor. That's your gift. You can charge, right? So having a spiritual business has probably been the hardest thing I've ever had. I was into marketing before. I was a mortgage broker. I was in the lending business. I was in real estate. I did everything you could ever possibly do to make money when the market crashed, because we opened up this huge 5,000 square foot office overlooking the ocean in Encinitas, California, like big, huge overhead. Me and my dad were like, if you build it, they will come. And like, they didn't. So they ended up coming, but like we kept afloat. I was doing loan mods and short sales and all this stuff just to like make money and stuff like that. So I know the hustle. I know got to get out there and make some money. In fact, that's how I got into spirituality, was somebody gave me a law of attraction book. So I started reading like Jerry and Esther Hicks, which are with Hay House, which is the publisher that I'm with now. And I started reading about what you put your mind to, that's what comes true in your life. And that's kind of what led me into spirituality, is like the need for money. It was like, I would check my bank account like 15 times a day. Like, I don't know if anybody has ever done that. It's like when you're a little kid and you go and you keep checking the fridge, like as if something new is going to like pop out at you. Mm-hmm. I don't know if anyone else did that. Like I'd sit there and I'd like stare at the fridge, like, what do I want to eat? Like as if something was going to pop out, and you just sit there and stare. And that's kind of how I was with my bank account. It was really weird. I would like check it all the time. I was very obsessed with it. And since then I've figured out why. It's because our consciousness gets stuck in a certain energy center. And in my book, I teach people how to kind of like free yourself from these like looping repetitive thoughts of like defining yourself by how much money you have or whatever. But needless to say, I made a lot of money in business, but then basically literally crashed my car into a fire hydrant and almost died. And that led me into spirituality now. So I kind of couldn't help but just blend what I was and what my hobby was. And I was very, very, very uncomfortable charging for what I do. Up until about, I still am. That's why I have Marla, who I just found out this morning needs to either go part-time or not work anymore because she needs to stay home with the kids. And I'm like, how will I collect money?
I'm 100%
like, send your money, because it's very hard as a spiritual person to, like giving a friend like really great advice. You don't want to be like, okay, give me $400 now. It's like, it's very hard because it feels like it comes from within. But I try to compare it like to like a massage therapist or something. Like, they don't just like, they do it because they like it, they're good at it, it's a gift, but like they got to get paid for their time. So I'm getting better at it, and I'm using my own tools to get better at it. And I'm actually teaching a class coming up here that's going to be teaching people. That's funny. That's your very first question, Mrs. Psychic over there. Is I keep telling her, she's like so psychic, and she's like, really? I know, maybe. Like, it's like people that don't understand how gifted they are. I just want to like take you and like swoop you up and be like, oh, I could do so much with you.
Thanks.
I could do so much. But yeah, about teaching people how to create a spiritual business, how to have one, and how to figure out what to base that on, because so many people don't know what their life purpose is. And I think this summit is in part about finding your life purpose, right?
Yeah. Connecting to your soul's mission.
Yeah. That's like, yeah. And that's so soul purpose. Yeah. And that's hard to do. It's hard to do if you try, but if you don't try, it's the easiest thing in the world to do. And I actually have a technique in my book that I teach about where it's where basically I teach you how to know what your soul's mission is. And I can share it with you guys if you want me to.
Yes, please. I would love that.
I didn't know if you wanted to follow your questions or
No,
if you
go for it. Go crazy.
You write down, it's called You Are Your Own Hero. And you basically write down 3 people that you admire.
Okay.
Whether it's your mom or your dad or your brother or your sister or like, me, it was like Neil Donald Walsh. But like at a point in my life when I was trying to learn how to be a healing teacher and I was going to teach a new healing modality because I do something called trance channeling where I go out and my higher self and then God. I hate saying God because I don't even like that word hate. Sorry. I despise saying that I'm talking to God so much that I hate saying that I'm talking to God because it sounds so like I was talking to God the other day. It sounds very like ego, but whatever it is that is divine, that makes all of us is what I hear, what comes through me. But basically you write down the 3 people that you admire the most, and you write down 3 reasons why. And when I was thinking that I needed to channel this new healing modality and teach it to everyone, I was like working on workbooks and all the different techniques and all this stuff. And I taught that class one week, and I channel all of my weekly classes on Wednesday nights. I just channel them. I don't know what the topic's going to be. I just say, hey, let's do this. Let's show up. I'm not the teacher. I'm just the channel. We're all students. And that was the exercise we got. And Sonia Choquette was one of the people that I admired. I didn't admire other people that were like healing teachers or people that are creating healing modalities. It was an intuition development teacher who was Christ-based and who believed that everybody was intuitive and who never forgot to dance. I wrote that, don't ever forget to have fun. And she always says that. I love Sonia Choquette. She's like my hero. And she wrote on my book. I was like,
hey, that's so cool.
Oh my gosh, I literally almost fell over when they were like, Sonia sent back a quote in time to get on your book. I was like, oh. Same thing's going to happen when Neil Donald Walsh is on my radio show in May. They're going to be like, where's the radio host? And they're going to be like, oh, she's on the floor. I'm just going to fall over. I'll just freak out. I'll be so just in awe because they're such great spiritual teachers. But in doing that exercise, I realized I don't want to be a healing teacher. I don't want to do what I thought my soul's purpose was because a psychic told me. You're supposed to create a healing modality. You're supposed to do this. You're supposed to do that. And you know what? It's probably what they were supposed to do because most psychics don't know the difference between their own energy and your energy. Yeah. So a lot of times we're very misguided by the psychics and people who think they're mediums, but really they're just psychics and they're really just reading your mind or your worst fears or whatever. So I shifted immediately and I started teaching intuition development. And the other person was my dad. He's honest. And then the other person was my mom, that she likes to be able to just freely roam wherever she wants to go, whenever she wants to go there. So creating some healing institute was just not, that's why I wasn't happy. And I was having health issues and stuff. So if you want to know what your life purpose is, you just look at the 3 people that you admire and then they change. So then after that, I'll check in every few months. I'll go okay, who do I admire now? Right now I admire Tony Robbins, which I wasn't a huge fan of Tony Robbins before. I didn't even like watching him. It was like nails on chalkboard. But now I'm like, he's amazing. And I love Gabby Bernstein now, which I've always liked her. But before I was like, oh, she's so on stage, up in front of everyone. But now apparently I want to go more towards the ministering and getting people excited about life and stuff like that. So it's changed from being intuition development teacher. I can teach other people to do that. And then I can go out and inspire people and stuff. So all you people watching at home, you should do that right now. You are your own hero. And just write down 3 people you admire, 3 reasons why. And it could be because they're honest. It could be because of their job. It could be because of anything. They're a good mom or whatever. And then that's your life purpose right now. Because you wouldn't admire it if it wasn't your life purpose.
Yeah. How detailed should they get? Because I could write integrity, loves to walk, or I could really talk about just what they do when it comes to their business or what they do for
just whatever comes to your mind first. And I always recommend that people get into their heart. And I do this thing where it's in my book where you put your hand over the center of your heart. but you imagine that you're inside your beating heart. So you say like, I am, and then your name. So I'll say like, I am Marissa's beating heart. So like, I'm inside my beating heart, because most people who are going to be watching this, even though this is business oriented, you're a very spiritual person. So you're going to attract people who are very gifted spiritually. So I am, and then your name's beating heart, and you can feel it beating like the blood. And in the middle, there's this spark of life that was there before your brain was ever even made. So then you just say, I am my divine spark, and I am in the center of my heart. And you'll feel kind of like that spark go into the center of your chest, where you have access to everything that is you. And then you just say, I am my I am. And you'll feel yourself go whoop back into this huge version of you. You might already be that, like we were talking about before. And then after you do that, you just write. And what you're doing is you think you're moving through your heart. You're actually moving through the different parts of the brain, but I don't say that. And I didn't know that when I wrote the book until very recently. Like I was just showing you, like, that I found out that we're actually in different parts of our brain, and we think that we're in our body. So anyways, I won't get confusing, but yeah, so getting into your beating heart, making sure you're in your body, because October of this last year, the planet shifted, and people's brains have access to more than we had access to before. They're called veils, like the Mayan calendar, 2012, lifted the veil between us and the spirit realm, or the emotional body. So everybody became empathic, where you can feel others' emotions. You were saying that you and your boyfriend are telepathic.
Yeah, we definitely are.
Which is awesome, unless you're thinking SHIT about him. And he's like, hey. But imagine,
we have our moments, yeah.
Imagine little kids. Imagine me being like, oh, I can't stand little Sally Sue, and little Sally Sue doesn't know who she is, and she's hearing, I can't stand little Sally Sue, and she thinks it's her own thoughts. That's an issue, because then she doesn't like herself, and then that's why kids are having issues these days. But the point is that the planet is shifting, and we have access to more parts of our brain. Sorry, all of your guides are coming in right now.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. They're all walking in. They're like, we're all here now. And it's funny, because the way that I see it is I see like bleachers, and I see everybody that's going to watch the show. So like, if you feel like I'm talking to you, I might likely be talking to you, because there's really no time over there. But this last October was when one veil lifted, so the world's gotten like a little bit crazy, and we have access to our higher self. So we have all this higher wisdom coming in, but we also have wisdom from other people's brains coming in. So you'll be like, I just thought of that idea the other day, and somebody just said, it's like we're all becoming one universal mind.
Yeah.
And so like, if you think of something awesome, jump on it, because someone else is going to think of it first. They're going to be faster about it. So I keep telling people, number one thing in the world right now to have a business in is selling your own knowledge.
Yeah.
Selling your own life, like what you've been through, because nobody can take what you've been through, but they can take an idea out of the ethers and, like do the same thing that you were going to do. That makes sense. I'm
actually going to get into that a little bit more, because I always tell my girls that there's a difference between having an idea and being able to implement it. That they think, a lot of people are having difficulties getting from idea to implementation, but if you don't do it and you're thinking about it, there's going to be someone that's going to pass you by and like, whoa, that's a good idea. And they won't even know that it was your idea to begin with, but they'll steal your idea. So
like, I thought of the Snuggly. I totally thought of the Snuggly. I had a Snuggie, the thing with the big monks sitting around at the fire.
Yes, exactly.
I was like, dude, that was my idea. It's so funny. It's like people just go like, oh my God, I totally had that idea. Now that person's rich off of that. Like, yeah. So the reason why people don't do it though, is because they have unworthiness issues. So you have like, oh, well, how could I ever do that? Or how could I ever do that? And the thing is that inside of us, we are basically our inner child. So when you get into anything where it has to do with success, being driven, achieving, you're going to go back to the time that you were harshly graded on a paper by a teacher that told you that you were like not good enough, even though you studied and studied and studied and you tried really hard. And you're going to stick with that. So there's ways where we can release those negative thoughts and emotions through a technique that I've called the snow globe, and a bunch of other stuff that I have in the book called the creation room and stuff like that, where you actually just visualize, which is part of the quantum physics that you had kind of mentioned earlier,
Mm-hmm.
The act of observing from a quantum state is what makes something happen. So there's something called the double slit experiment where I don't fully understand it. I just know that it has something to do with particles and waves. And they're measuring light waves and I think matter or something. And they basically put a witness in, like if the scientist is looking and he thinks it's going to be a wave, it performs like a wave. If he thinks it's going to be a particle, it performs like a particle. But it doesn't do anything unless someone's actually watching it. So that's like our quantum state is our I am presence. And that's what my book is about, getting into your I am. So that's why you said I am and then your name, because you're taking that divine spark that was in our heart before we even had a brain in our head, before our body even made that. That's that piece of God that all of us are, whether you call it source or creator or whatever, divinity. But that spark is your real brain. And I call it your GoPro video camera. It's like this little GoPro video camera witnessing life through you, the human being, or a soul, basically. And it moves all around. But, what I was saying was, since October, that has been freed from our physical bodies. So the guides, I call them the guides, told us in class, like June of last year, by the way, in October, everybody's awareness is going to be freed from their physical bodies. And we were like, what does that mean? And they said, well, what it means is if you're obsessing about your ex-boyfriend, not only are you thinking about him constantly, but you are him now. So like your little GoPro video camera goes woo over into your ex-boyfriend. So now your brain is reading your energy as if you are him. Let's say that he had like a father with rage, or he has like, Lyme's disease or something, but it's not switched on in his DNA or something, but you have an inclination towards it. You'll start thinking you have Lyme's disease, or you'll start thinking you have like, like thyroid or something wrong with you, when really you just need to bring your awareness back into your own physical body. The biggest issue with kids and like transgenderism and all this stuff is they're not in their own body. They're in someone else's body, because you think about them long enough and whoop, there goes your awareness goes into them. So I think that my biggest thing with people with success, spiritual business, teaching spirituality, is getting everybody back into their own body, because we're so scattered like everywhere. It's like, if I wish I was an artist, because then I would draw what I see, but it's literally like we're all these little like bubbles, and we have all these little like strings going out everywhere.
What I was gonna mention was Ho'oponopono, or like the Hawaiian culture and their spirituality. They believe that even if you just see someone, like let's say I cross you in the street, if I look into your eyes, we will have a small connection from like my heart to your heart. Every person that we meet, and the more time that we spend with them, that string, that white string, will grow brighter and brighter. So, for example, with your
family, specifically white.
Yeah,
that's white. That's awesome, because there's a new teaching that me and one of the students here, her name's Christina. I call her my scribe, because she writes out all the classes and trade for class, so that, because her husband, I don't think, was letting her come because of price, not wanting to pay $25. So I'm like, okay, well, you're the scribe. So she writes down all the exercises, and there's this exercise where there's a white thread, a diamond thread, a gold one, and a silver one, and each one means a different thing. And I think the white one is purity and trust, and it is from human being to human being. But the diamond thread, the gold one, and the silver are all from different aspects of the divine, coming from above, which is where we get all of our ideas from. Like, you can kind of picture like our higher selves are up there, like we're like marionette puppets, and they're like, kind of like going like, go this way, go that way. But we have free will, and we can say like, no, I don't want to. And then it's like our GPS is like redirecting. We're going up over all the bumpy hills and mountains and crashing, our tires popping. And then we finally make it back. And then we're like, oh, deja vu, this feels weird. And it's like, yeah, because you just got back on your path. So like, that's what deja vu is, by the way. I thought that was kind of cool.
So deja vu is when you get back on the path that you're supposed to be on, right? Your destiny or fate. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't mean that you're too far off of it, but it's almost like the night before. They say that as consciousness goes, like when we're sleeping, that technically we're like 3 days lag time from our consciousness.
Okay.
And so our consciousness has already lived 3 days ahead of time. And if you were to call it in, your consciousness would look like an angel because it's your guardian angel, but it's really you. So like if you got hit by a bus, they're going to be like, okay, let's make her lose her keys so that she doesn't get hit by a bus because she's got a lot to do and we can't have her get hit by a bus. So there's like a piece of us that lives a little bit in the future so that it can stop, you know, stuff from happening. And at first I was like, I don't know about that. But then I started thinking about all those movies, you know, and like Hollywood's got it down. I think they like totally understand this stuff. But I mean, how else would we know to make us lose our keys so that something bad didn't hapen? You know, like it's so now whenever I lose my keys, I go, thank you, God. Thank you, guys. Thank you. You know, whatever. Then you just find them. Then they're just sitting there and you're like, dude, I looked there like 500 times and they weren't there. And then they're just sitting there, you know? So I always tell people to take those as like a compliment from your guides and God that they're watching over you. And that's why you've lost your things and you can't find them because you're being delayed so that something won't happen that's bad. Or getting all red lights too.
Oh my God.
It's a new way to look at life. It's a new
I've
way.
been there.
Yeah,
but it's true. It depends on how you look on life. It's the perspective that you have, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So it's interesting because some people can actually be connecting to their soul's mission, but they may feel like, well, I'm supposed to be a doctor. That's what my parents told me, right? And they'll go off on this different track and they'll end up finding themselves back and they're like, okay, I'm back. Right?
Yeah.
And I've heard from many teachers in general that sometimes you may not love your soul's mission and that's okay. Right? How do you feel about that? I see that you have a different thought.
Everybody loves their soul's mission.
You think that everybody loves their soul's mission
unless they're flipped. So, and I don't want to go too deeply into it. I get all into it on Wednesday night classes and stuff, but like, but I gotta like keep it super simple. I can channel the guides for this one because this one will be, they'll be able to make it easier. So, well, let me just channel my higher self. Okay. A soul's mission is that which comes through and unto the heart from the mind, but comes from the creator self. The creator self is the you that is standing behind the projector in the movie theater, and your thoughts are projecting onto a movie reel. The light shining through the projector is what many would call the Holy Spirit, the divine light from that which would be the source of all creation. That light shines through your thoughts onto the screen, and your soul is a patron sitting in the movie theater watching. At some point, your soul will fall into the movie, forgetting that it is just a witness, and it will think that it is you. This is many times when they will say that we are fallen or we have fallen into ourselves. This is what they say with the Garden of Eden. Adam fell into the movie. So when we fall into the movie, we begin to believe that we are the human, not the soul. And we also forget that we're the ones standing up there thinking up our soul's mission, thinking up our soul's plan, thinking up everything that we are to do. So by bringing ourselves into the creator of our entire life, this is when we can change things instantly. Everyone will love their soul's mission. They may not love the circumstances around it per se. However, if you are doing something that somebody says is your soul's mission, they say, you're supposed to work with roadkill, or you're supposed to work with, animals and go get them off the road because so other people won't be hurt by seeing them. If this is something that is horrifying to you, don't do it because you feel it's your soul's mission. Your soul's mission may be to help animals and people in another way. So there's many different ways and many different fractions or factors of doing something, but a soul's mission is always emotionally based. So everyone's soul's mission is either based on joy, wisdom, education, perseverance, or observation. Interesting. Never heard that before. Or adversary. It's like what are those people? Adversary. The contrarians. On the contrary, like, oh, look at it the other way. There's people that their soul mission is literally to oppose everything that everybody says.
Huh.
Like, kind of like to fight against the grain. Mm-hmm. Because as a society in general, we fall into these ruts where we go, oh, okay, well, this is how a spiritual person is supposed to be, or this is how a minister is supposed to be, or this is how a stay-at-home mom is supposed to be. There's actual people whose soul's purpose is to come in and like go against that. Does that make sense? And then there's other people whose soul's purpose is to minister or teach or whatever. And then however that comes through, like you could be a grocery store clerk and be a healer. You don't need to be a healer. You're working at the grocery store, you're healing people just by saying hi to them as they're coming in. So I think that they may not like being the grocery store worker, and that may not be their purpose, but their purpose is the healing. So we need to find something that we enjoy doing that is around our purpose. Does that make sense?
That actually, some of it was, I want to go into it. Like, what about the joy, the different things? But something did catch my attention, which is I used to work for T-Mobile, right? And me working at T-Mobile, great. What was I doing there? So I used to work at T-Mobile, and I didn't like sales. I didn't enjoy working there, but I made it my soul's mission at that time period that anyone that came into the store, they would leave with a smile. That was my ultimate mission while working every single day. Thank you. So I would get all the hard clients, and they'd come in like, I'm ready to yell at someone. Like they were hardcore, and they would leave like calling a pizza person because I was hungry after spending 2 hours and they'd order me pizza or, like crazy things like that. They'd only ask for me. Like after I left, they were like, okay, who do we go to, Jasmine? You tell us,
But I can say your purpose 100% is to bring joy into people's lives. Like
interestingly enough, my nickname is Joy.
What? Oh my God, that's crazy. Okay. So yeah. And joy, I mean, there's so many, sorry, but there's so many fake teachers out there. I mean, it's like, there's so many people that are like, oh, just feel it in your heart. Just love. It's like, how the F am I supposed to love and feel joy when my life is like this? Are you joking me? Mm-hmm. Then people like you come along and you're like, but what if you looked at it like this? And it's like, F you, you've done it. And oh, actually, you know what? So you could go into literally anything. And that's why I was like, oh my God, you would be amazing to just be a face in the media, because just your presence alone, people look at you and they go, oh, look, I'm going to point it out. I'm going to call you out on your white and your black ponytail holders. That's like, like, I love the fact that she's got a black and a white ponytail holder. She's like, I don't care because I was
going for a yin yang look. Okay.
Exactly. But it's like people care too much and are unwilling to laugh at themselves, and you bring that to them. And all the people watching this, you need to figure out, and I don't even remember what I said those soul purposes are, so you'll have to send me the recording because I didn't hear them, but I see people and I'll see like the essence of what they're bringing in. And if they're not doing that, like say, they think like the person that thinks that they need to be a doctor, like my dad was always like, she's going to grow up and be an attorney. So I was always their little attorney. So I chose to be a drug addict instead and chase around a boy and try and fix him and drop out of college. And I still have my issues with not finishing college, and I feel uneducated and dumb and like a fraud. But I finally have come to terms sort of with the fact that my whole purpose was to not go to college so that I could motivate people that, you know what, if you didn't go to college, big freaking deal. Don't all of you kids drop out because I did. But, it's like if it doesn't feel right to you and your life didn't give that to you at that moment, don't beat yourself up for the rest of your life and think that you're a loser, So it's kind of like bringing that positive spin to it and then believing it, like in AA or whatever. Fake it till you make it. Fake it till you believe it.
Yeah, definitely. So what about those, like, there's people that are going to be watching this and they're like, I want to be an entrepreneur, right? And that's the idea here. I want to be an entrepreneur. So people can be different entrepreneurs with different soul missions. How do they get into that? I'm trying to figure out the wording for this. And I know you're going to hear it and you're just going to understand what I'm trying to go for here. So
the entrepreneur, okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to try saying it again. So how does someone that wants to become an entrepreneur just find out what their soul's mission is, whether it's, and I'm forgetting all of them except for Joy Clan. Joy was mine.
Everything is coming through. It's like, it's so funny. I have like all these streams coming through for each person that's going to be watching this. And there's like over like, at least like live, like when you first sent it through, it's like 11,000 people, and then it's going to be 181,000. It's like kind of be like everywhere. So I'm like feeling everyone's energy. So let me just ask my guide, Mary that I channel, who happens to be me, but I have such a low self-esteem that I don't believe she's me. So of course I have to call her a different name, but it's really just like my highest, it's like my I am present self. Yeah. But she comes in and she's like, all right, already people, let's get down to business. So first of all, actually ask yourself, are you willing to work for free? Are you willing to work for free? Many people will say, I want to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to be rich. Ask yourself, am I a pie in the sky? Am I in the pie in the sky addict? Are you addicted to pie? Are you addicted to pie is what she's saying. Oh, we're going to be so rich. We're going to make so much money. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And they get addicted to the adrenaline rush of the what's going to happen, but they can't do the, like you said, they can't sit down and fill out the doing business as. I'm addicted to starting up businesses because I love doing the website. I love thinking of the idea. I've got so many websites. It's not even funny. I own 198 domain names because I'm like, I'm going to do this now. And like, I got a guy that wrote to me from GoDaddy that was like, we're willing to give you a $4,000 discount if you renew all your things right now. And I'm like, what? I have that many domain names? Because in the middle of the night, I'll be like, I know, I'm going to start a company that does this. So if you're wanting to be an entrepreneur, you have to ask yourself in reverse order what you want your life to look like. Because if you don't, it's going to end up looking like mine and probably yours. Well, no, you're probably a little smarter than me. Mine, it's you end up all night long responding to emails for free, until 3, 4 in the morning. And then you wake up in the morning, you check your Facebook, you do everything, and then you're just responding to people all day long, but you're not making money doing anything. So you have to actually figure out what your end result is. But most people will say like, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur and I want to sell this. But also learn to, what Mary's saying is learn discernment. Don't get into a relationship with someone because they're an investor and they've got a lot of money. Because that's the worst possible thing you could do, whether it's spiritual business or not. Because if they've got a lot of money, you already think you're lower than them. So if you think you're lower than them because they have more money than you, that's like, it was your idea. That's your divine idea. They have money. Great, wonderful, woohoo. Go do a garage sale and make money. Whatever, to come up with the money. That's my sarcastic guy coming through. That was Peter. Anyway, so go do a garage sale. But like really honestly look at an entrepreneur and then look at the fact that you can live for 6 months without making a penny. Look at it like, okay, I've got either enough money or I have the support of somebody where if for 6 months I don't make a dime, I'm good. Because otherwise you're going to be desperate. And then nobody wants to deal with a desperate person, right? Don't you think? It's like you deal with desperate people. And that's what me and my dad used to always tell agents before coming into our office when we had the real estate mortgage company is, do you have 6 months in savings? Do you have 6 months in savings? Because if not, people are going to smell your desperateness, that you need this deal to close, that they're not going to go with you because they want someone who's confident, And as far as like entrepreneur, I gave a lady on the radio show an exercise yesterday. I told her, I said, write for 10 days what you notice about other people. So like when you're just like, like walking around and you like notice somebody, like just be like, lady over there scratching her ear repetitively is like irritating the hell out of me. Like why, And like just like whatever you notice in life, you just write this down for 10 days. And you'll start to notice the type of patterns that you have, or you'll start to notice what you're into. And if your idea is, oh, I'm going to go create a pool sweep or something, but you're like noticing human behavior, or, you're more into like something else, like that doesn't fit. But one really cool exercise is you can actually imagine, you can just do the whole, so I'd say, I am Marisa and I am in my beating heart. And then you pull yourself into your heart. I am my divine spark and I am in my heart center. And you just kind of go whoop into the center of your heart. And then I always say, I am my I am, and I go boom back. Some people already are theirs, but that's just kind of like my little technique. And then you say, show me 2 pool balls. Both of them are white or whatever color you want, but show me 2 pool balls, 1 in each hand, and you just visualize it. You're not like, don't have to be spiritually gifted for this. And just imagine the 2 pool balls, 1 in each hand. And then say, this pool ball now represents my idea of what it is that I want to do. And then this now represents what I should do and what my life's purpose is to do. And they may not look the same, which is fine. And then you just imagine merging them together. And if they go boink and fall apart, there's something missing over there. They merge. It means that your brain, because what you're doing is you're tuning into your brain. You're syncing up your mind to see if your creative mind and your logical mind are basically matching up. You're not doing anything mystical or spiritual. It's all very like, left brain, right brain. But if it's like, say you're like, this is what I'm wanting to do, and it turns into this gloppy gloppa goo, and you're like, ew, yuck, it's all black and foamy and yucky, you can ask your divine source or your higher self or God or Jesus, or I believe in Jesus, I'm Christ-based. So I'll say, okay, run Christ energy through the ball, and the ball will get all clean, and then I'll try and put it together, and it's like, oh, okay, I just needed to clear some like yucky beliefs off there. So my belief may be I'm not cool enough to be an entrepreneur. That's another one too, the unworthiness. You have to remember that nobody wants to be an entrepreneur. Like only you do. Like seriously, like not many people on the planet want to be an entrepreneur, and not many people want to have spiritual gifts, but because we want to, we think it's the coolest thing in the world. So we think, how could I ever be that? But it's the same thing. Like I look at a doctor and I'm like, who would ever want to go to school for that long and cut people up? But like doctors look at it like, I could never be that. You know what I mean? Like we have to remember that like we think it's cool because it's what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So hopefully that made sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. And that's interesting because the technique that you just showed me, I'm a neurolinguistic programming practitioner. And
Really?
one thing that they teach us is to do kind of this, like whenever you're in between two things, whenever you're uncertain about things, like whether it's as simple as to leave your business or to make a new, whatever it is, to stay on your 9 to 5 or make a business, right? Whatever it is, or stay with your boyfriend or not, doesn't matter, to kind of just talk about it and close your eyes, and little by little, one of two things will happen. Either one will start doing this, just start getting higher than the other one, or they'll start to meet, or they'll start to go away from each other.
Wow.
And yes, and it'll just be you just talking, and you can record yourself through video just talking about it, and something will happen automatically. And when it happens, you'll know, okay, these two are meeting, so let me try to find something, a way to kind of intermingle them. Maybe instead of trying to quit my job now, let me try to figure out a way that it'll match my entrepreneurship. Okay, they're way too separate, so now I know, okay, which one's lower, okay, this one's higher. It's the idea of what's happening inside.
Divine time, that's huge. Divine timing, have you heard of that before?
Yeah, divine timing.
Divine timing, like people will be like, that's it, I'm quitting my job. I had a girl who I had said, oh yeah, you're going to be a teacher and a healer, and you're going to be kind of doing what I'm doing and everything. She quit her 6-figure job as a corporate trainer to do Reiki and do what I do, and then was just like kind of like, so, and I was like, did you like ask about the divine timing? 6.5 years was her divine time. So you actually have to ask, what's my divine timing for this? And I don't have it in this book, but my next one I talk about divine timing, because you will feel it in your gut so strong that you're supposed to be an entrepreneur, and you're supposed to do this, and you're supposed to do that. And there's ways of speeding it up too. Like in my book, in my book Attunement that I have ways of going into the creation room and kind of like cutting out like some time, like getting rid of like some of the blocks, or like downloading from source all of the lessons and virtues that you would need to learn in order to skip up 2 years of you having to go through duality and learning how to fail and learning how to this and learning how to that. You can actually download that into your field now that the planet's shifted and we have access to our God self. Like all the old 4th dimensional teachings, which means mind, body, spirit. So there's basically the physical body, physical body, emotional body, spirit. So that's the 3D, mental body, the 4D. So that's like your mental body, your emotional body, physical body. Sorry, I'm like, But the 5D means that your higher self is in there. So the you that knows why you're here. So your brain has access to all 5 of those dimensions readily. So a lot of people are getting visions of their future and they think it's now, and they're like, oh, I'm quitting my job. So that's why I always say have 6 months, or at least know that you're not going to be desperate. And then also another thing that's really, really important when you're wanting to start a business is to actually say, go into yourself the way we were, and then just say, I am now me in 5 years after starting this business. Please show me what I feel like. And if you're like, and like you like look like Swiss cheese in your brain, you're all like charred and like,
That was
like,
great.
oh, my higher self can see that. So it's not going to let it happen. You're going to fight tooth and nail. You're going to get investors. You're going to get people to give you money. You're going to fight. But if your brain, like, you know, with the NLP, if your brain is set with beliefs that say you're going to get eaten alive out there, you know, then you need to release those beliefs until you say, okay, I'm now me in 5 years. If I was to do this, and that, and then you're like, oh, you know, like all big. It's like, okay, sweet. I released the beliefs. So we're so in control of our energy, and we're so in control of what like our mind is doing and what it produces. But the problem is nobody knows what's in their mind, because we're like, you know this, what is it, 98% subconscious, or what is it? How much is in our subconscious mind?
Oh, well, it's over 90% for sure is our subconscious mind. It's more than that.
Yeah, I think it's like huge.
90.
Like our subconscious mind does all the thinking. Our conscious mind is like, duh,
Yeah.
you know, and like, and the subconscious mind is so black or white. The first thing we got taught was about the yield sign, and you're young enough to where you probably think the yield sign is red and white. But in the U.S., at least, if you're in the U.S.,
it's yellow.
They asked what color is the yield sign, and everybody was like, oh, yellow and black. And I remember thinking, I don't know what color it is. So I asked the guides, and I heard red and white. So I was like, red and white, and they're like, Marisa got it right. And it's because I asked my higher self, because I couldn't remember what color the yield sign was. And they were like, actually, no, it's red and white. And everyone's like, no, it's yellow and black. But it got changed 29 years ago from yellow and black to red and white. But if the very first time you saw it, it was yellow and black, you will never see it another way ever, until you reprogram your mind. So think of, if that you're that way with a yield sign, think of how you are when mommy's cooking dinner and daddy's gone. You're like, mommy, what, you know, where's daddy? Oh, sweetie, men are pigs. Okay, men are pigs. When really, like, mommy's boinking the next door neighbor and daddy's out working 6 jobs to keep a roof over your head. But, you know, we don't have a filter, and we don't have that conscious mind to go, well, that doesn't make any sense, mom. You know, we don't go to the next door neighbor and go, are men really pigs? You know what I mean? Like, we just believe whatever. So we have to deal with the beliefs. So that's why I always tell people when they're getting into business, just remember, you have a 7-year-old, 0 to 7-year-old, blocking everything you want to do based on whatever it was told from the television, from media, from your parents, and it's black or white. You know, that's what's blocking you. So that's a lot of what we work on, which is NLP, which is the subconscious mind, the root chakra, and stuff like that.
Crazy. It's crazy how everything connects. You've actually answered a lot of my questions without even meaning to. I haven't been able to ask them. You just kind of bring them up, and I'm like, okay, cool, check mark.
I'm channeling. If it was me, I'd be like, and I'd be all sweaty and nervous and like, you know.
No, you're good.
When I come back, I mess with my hair. When I'm gone, when
please.
guys are here, I don't ifs and buts. But when I'm back, I start messing with my hair. So.
Oh my God, how funny! Well, so I think I only have like one question left that I feel like you went over a little bit, but I want to make sure that we, you know, tie it back in, which is, I know that you teach the soul house, and I want to talk about what that is. What are the different layers of the soul, and how does that connect with the different chakras? And some people may know what chakras, some people may not. So like slight, you know, teaching of it, and go through it and how it connects to your soul's mission.
I thought the chakras were like the dumbest thing in the world until I started learning like the actual like body's anatomy, because I'm actually a medical intuitive. I work on people with cancer and Lyme's. Like I do actual like healing of people with like medical conditions and stuff like that. I couldn't be the medical medium because there was already a medical medium. I'm the medical intuitive, you know, or the intuitive anatomy person. So when I went into Hay House, I had to kind of like shave off all of like the things that I was the intuitive mom. I helped moms with kids and stuff like that. So now I'm just discover intuition. It's very very like generic bland. I can kind of go anywhere. But the Soul House was actually Wayne Dyer of all people came in when I was and I never read his books. I always kind of thought, oh, he's so ego. He's always like dropping names or this or that or whatever. My mom loves Wayne Dyer, so she's always listening to him. And I was like, why is he always doing this with his hands? And like, because I watched a movie and he's always like doing that. For some reason, he bugged me. I don't know why, but now I know why, because he's part of like my soul family. So anyways, I was doing an interview with Reed Tracy, who's the owner of Hay House, when I first got signed with them for something called the Psychic Summit, kind of like your summit, but it was with all their authors. And he asked me, does everybody have to have a near-death experience in order to, have gifts like you? And I was like, he's like, because Doreen Virtue did, and blah, blah, blah did. And he was naming off everyone. And I was like, and I hear, let me help you out with this, toots. And I was like, and I literally, because he wouldn't have come in, but he was best friends with Reed. So him and Reed were best friends. So obviously he came in through Reed's field. Otherwise he wouldn't have known who I was. And he says, the soul is like a house. And so I channeled it right there on the interview with Reed. And I had never referred to the soul as a house before. I referred to it as a 12-story building. I referred to it as the different layers. But what was so cool was after I kind of channeled the initial thing was they said the first room is your physical body. And in your physical body is everything. You have your chakras, and your chakras go like, basically like the back of you is like a puppet, and they go up like this and connect into your higher self's chakras. Okay. So each chakra connects in and goes doink. So as your higher self's thinking and sending energies, they're coming into us as a physical being, but we can be like, not listening, I'm going to go the other way. And that's when we get that gut feeling, or we get that feeling in our throat or our chest. So our higher self is like sending like a frequency to go one way, but we're going the other. So they're like communication devices. And it's also another reference to the angels trumpeting, in the Bible, how they talk about they're trumpeting through our chakras, and our chakras are like trumpets out to the world, playing our song, playing our music. And that's why some people, you walk up to them and you're like, oh, because they're like playing like grunge, like heavy metal, and you're playing like hip hop, and you're like, our musics don't match, because it's like,
that's the vibration. Yeah.
So anyway, so he went through and explained these like vaguely, and then I spent the next year channeling, and so about it. And so the first room's our physical body. We can stay in it forever. No one ever has to leave it. Right above it is the 8th room, which is God. But God is outside of us. So God's communicating through us. Next to it would be all of our subconscious is there, our NLP, everything is done in that first room. We can stay there forever. Once we move into the second room, that's where it's like you open the door and it's like, roar! It's your emotional body. So it's like as soon as we start getting like emotional, we're like, yeah, let's just push it in the blah, 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 and like push it in there, or we run straight through it and go and we start intellectualizing. Well, I think I feel this way because I think that this happened, and I think that. And that's our mental body, which is also our higher self prior to planet shifting. So it's like,
these are the 5 that you mentioned too.
Have you ever seen a crowned version of you during meditation?
I have seen, it's more of like a light, you know what I'm talking about? I've noticed like people's kind of auras around them as soon as they get
you're totally outside your soul house, girlfriend. You're totally ascended. See, no, I'm just kidding. Most of our consciousness is trapped in our soul house, but then there's people like you and your generation that have come down that do not live in the soul house. You're outside of the soul house looking in, and me and my dad have this recording called Big House, Little House. So there's the big house, and then there's a little house. So most of us are kind of stuck inside of our little house, and the next room up is the astral plane. And depending on where you are emotionally, if you open up to the spirit world, if you're angry and you go meditate, you're going to get angry spirits that are posing like Jesus. So that's why you get tricksters, fake Jesuses, fake Marys. And that's why I always tell people before you meditate, you need to ground into your creator self, which is not even in the house. It's outside of the house where there's no duality. So there's kind of like a fake reality in the 4th room. The 5th room is like our light body, our God body. The 6th room is where we have all of our programming, like our DNA and everything. And then the 7th room is the eyeball. I see it as the eye. It's the witness. It's the I am. And it's our individual God consciousness. And that's where my book leads everybody through. But in the meantime, we get rid of all your limiting beliefs about money. People have monastic vows. They were a nun in a past life, and they believed that they were supposed to give of themselves freely and not make any money, not own a home, not get married. I know so many people that are like, I want to get married and have kids, but I can't meet anyone. And we just pull the monastic vow, and boom, they meet like 10 people, and they're like, oh my God, now I can't even field all the people. Which one do I pick? I'm like, you little hussy. But anyways, no wonder you had a monastic vow. But it has a lot to do with money too and everything. But all of our money issues usually lie in the first couple rooms. So it's really just, the soul house isn't really a house. It's more like it's like that old Simon thing where you push the little buttons. It's like a circle. So it depends on which way you're looking at life. But we all know that person who will not go into their emotional body. And I used to make fun of my brother-in-law who passed away this last July. And it's a real thing. I mean, like, I used to make so much fun of him because we would talk about something emotional and he would literally start rambling off sports scores. He'd be like, when are the Sox going to play in the Padres? And like me and his girlfriend would be like, oh my God, he can't do anything emotional because of the way that he was treated when he was younger. He was much more sensitive than my husband. My husband was like warrior, fighter, you know, government worker, military dude. And Brian was very sensitive. So he couldn't handle what was in his second room. So he drank, and that he drank himself to death. And a lot of people who have drug addictions, OCD, like all of the mental disorders come from that second room and all the emotions that we haven't processed. So in the book, I teach people how to go out of the soul house and then just look back at the emotional room and be like, whatever's emotional attached to me being an entrepreneur, I'm calling that forward as a dozen eggs or whatever. Now show me the eggs, and the eggs have like all this gross stuff. And then you just say, clear it. And it's like, boom, it clears it using the quantum healing. I've learned every modality. I've taken every class on healing. And like, I kind of took a little bit from like each thing. But like when the guides finally just told me, just attune people to their highest self, to their God self. And then whatever they think will be. It's like in the beginning, there was the word, and the word was God. And then God said, let there be light. And there was light. So, you know, the mind is the word, you know, you speak it into existence. But if you're down here in your ego and you're down in your foot and you're like, I want $1 million and I want to be an entrepreneur, it's like, yeah, great, you're down there, you have no power. But if you're like, I am my I am, boom, you get back into your creator self, and then you're like, I'm an entrepreneur, show me what that looks like, show me what that feels like, download into me everything I need in order to make that happen, then you're powerful, you know. So that's kind of like the rooms, like very in like a very like quick cut way. And in my book, I take people through each one, but it's changed so much since I wrote the book too. Like I told you, my book was 144,000 words, and I think it's 40,000. So I'm right now in the process of creating a video course that hopefully will be out by the time this comes out.
Yay!
Yeah, and the free gift that we're giving away is that we're giving that 50% off coupon to my Tuned In thing, or my Intuition Live TV, where it's like hundreds of meditations and teachings and stuff like that. And gonna hopefully have like daily teachings on there, and then hopefully have people like you have little channels in there doing like summits and stuff like that, where we can just start educating people and people can start learning how to empower themselves. And most importantly, I have kids. I waited until I was 40 to have 2, and now I'm like, why? But I love them. I love you, Madison and Parker, but oh my God, it's like you go an entire life with no kids, and then you have them, and it's like, what did I do? I'm having to control another human being. But these kids these days, we need to bring more education about them, a lot more entrepreneurs. If you're an entrepreneur and you're like, oh, but I'm just a school teacher. You know what? You're an entrepreneur. Get out there and share what you have learned and what you observed. That's why I was saying, like, observe. What do you observe each day? What do you notice? What is that little GoPro video camera noticing? Is it noticing all the Down syndrome kids? Is it noticing the kids that are doing that, you know, like when they get too emotional? Give them kinetic sand. It takes all the energy out of their field. They get grounded, and they don't do that anymore. Madison gets super, like when I'm emotional, she'll get in it and she'll start going. So if I wasn't me and I didn't understand, we would think she was on the spectrum. So we would take her in and probably get her on medication, get her all these vaccines, and you know, and then that opens up a whole nother can of worms, you know. So whatever you are, that is your trade. I'm hearing this, so we'll close it out with the channeling. So this is what Michael, my guide, who I call him Christ Michael because I feel too cocky calling him Christ. So I just say, okay, Michael. And he's not Archangel Michael, but he says, dear children, as we bring this message unto you, we bring this to each and every single one of you. Each and every single one of you are your trade. Each and every single one of you have designed this life. You chose your parents. You chose your life. So get over it. Get over your abusive father. Get over the abusive mother. Get over all of it and look at what came from it. Look how strong you are. Look how amazing you are. Look how driven you are. And you'll say, I'm not driven. I'm sitting here at home watching this instead of doing something. Yes, but at least you're watching this and you're not watching something awful like the Kardashians on television. No Kardashians, maybe I want to cut that. I'm like, hey, don't put down a show. Yeah. Anyways, or reality television. at least you're watching something like this rather than reality television. Because what many do is they don't know who they are, so they place themselves into others on television and go, okay, well, I will just be that because I don't know who I am. You are deciding who you are. You are learning who you are by who you are attracting, who you are noticing, and what you are wanting to watch, what you are wanting to absorb. So just know that right now, at this moment, if you want to be aligned with your soul's purpose, all you must do now is close your eyes, placing your fingers like this. It's like a prayer position type thing, but with the palms out like this. Imagine a road in front of you. Imagine that you're standing on that road. Look down and look at your feet. Are you barefoot? Do you have shoes on? Are you ready for this ride that you're about to take? Look at this road and just imagine what it looks like. Is it desolate? Is it bare? Is it open? And then say, I now command that my I am show me my purpose using this visualization of the road. And then just imagine what it looks like. Do you have roadblocks? Do trees fall in the way? Do your shoes turn into bare feet? Do things shift? Do they change? If they do, if it does not open up wide and expand, ask that the Christ within, or the light within, the light body within, if you don't like the word Christ, the Christ within, or the aspect of you that is forgiveness. There we go. Ask that the aspect of you that is forgiveness step up behind you. They'll place their hands upon your shoulders, and they'll begin to fill you with light, golden light. And as you fill with golden light, the space between your hands will begin to fill up with beautiful rainbow-colored light. And as that fills and grows into a huge bubble, all you must do is say, reset my path. And imagine throwing the bubble up in the air. God, or whomever is up there for you in the quantum realms, will take that bubble, infuse it with whatever is needed, and it will come down at lightning speed, flash down through you, flash out in front of you, clear your whole path, and make you ready to go get that prize. And that is you trusting and having faith. And it doesn't have to be in a man sitting on a cloud with a harp. This is just having trust and faith that you're here for a reason. If you were not here for a reason, you would not be here, period. We bless you, and we leave you with that.
Beautiful.
Guides took over.
That was amazing. Thank you very much. And that answered my last question I wanted to say, which is, what is one action step we can take to connecting to our soul's mission and seeing our path? And the guides answered it, so we're good to go.
My dad's always like, "Man, they answered before I could even ask." The one thing that I love is people that are visual. You can actually ask to see like a billboard, like at the end of the road. You can say like, "Show me a billboard at the end of the road." And if you're not a seer, you can say, "Please show me what it feels like to be at the end of the road." And in my book, I use this as a technique to see, like, like that road is now my relationship, and a lot of my techniques recently have been like, holding up a wand, like a bubble wand, like where you blow bubbles, like you're blowing bubbles, and then you hold one up, and then God breathes life into it. That bubble comes down around you, and then you blow bubbles as God, and those bubbles go and clear things out. So every day it's like impossible, and the Hay House doesn't even know what to do with me. They've even said that, like the teachings are so everywhere, because no matter who I'm talking to, we share packets of information. So I start getting techniques from their field, and whatever. So I don't know how to narrow my stuff down. The only thing that I can say is that I teach people how to get into the them that can create anything, and that all you have to do is say it. Because I'm an ex-heroin addict. I got clean. I almost died like 8 times. I took a whole bottle of pills 4 times, and I woke up. I was like, oh my God. I was ex-Christian, then I hated God, and now I'm Christ-based. And I say I become more and more Christ-based every day as I see these kids. I think the kids need God in their life. I don't think that this new age movement should be in the kids because they're not protected unless they have something that they can trust and believe in. But that's a whole nother conversation. And what my summit's going to be about.
No way. All right, perfect.
Yeah.
So anyone here, hopefully we can, go to that one too. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
And your free gifts that you're going to be offering, I know, is the snow globe audio. Do you have the snow globe with you to show them?
Yes, I have the snow globe. And so we're actually making a little package. So if you want to sign up for the email list, that on my website, which is marisamorris.com or discoverintuition.com, then we're going to be sending out like a free snow globe meditation each week. And then anyone who enters in and like does like a review on one of I have 27 books. It's like ridiculous. None of them are able to be marketed until everything's done. Chaos. But I've got them all on audio, and they're all available on audio. And I love to read books, but I'm way too lazy to read the whole thing. I like audios too. Yeah. But we're giving away like raffling off a free snow globe. Like actually, if you like right now say I am my divine spark and I'm in the middle of that snow globe, please show me what it feels like. You'll be like, whoa! It's like, oh my gosh! That's so cool. Sparks come in. Water can be programmed. That's a whole other conversation. And Dr. Emoto talks about how you can program water and stuff like that. And so this is programmed with higher self energy to pull you into your higher self. So all kids have to do is visualize that they're in it and they don't have night terrors anymore. They just stop seeing spirits and ghosts and all the scary stuff. So yeah, we have that. I have the soulmate one, the heart. Cool. I got so many people meet their soulmate and then the star.
Oh, the dog's out.
There's Master Guru Poochie in the background.
All right, perfect. And we'll end it so you can go. Yeah, your book attunement with Hay House. And
I have a radio show too.
And your radio show and the Intuitive Live TV. So really quickly, so it's the Snow Globe. It's the Skeptic's Guide to Your Spiritual Credit Score. And it's the 50% off membership to the Intuitive Live TV. So let's give like a quick of that, and then we'll end this recording.
So Live TV is like a compilation of like, I have a weekly class that are like 2 to 3 hour long classes. We cut out the meditation and that's on there, just the meditation.
Cool. Okay.
And we have little snippets that are like 2 minute, 5 minute, 10 minutes, where you're like, I only have 10 minutes for some inspiration right now. What does Marisa have to say? And I'm rambling on about my shoes and going to Nordstrom and getting a new jacket. It's like, oh, come on, get to it. So we cut out all like the good stuff. And we put that on the app right now. It's dailyattunement.com. It's been kind of changing around the address of it. But if you go to marisamorris.com, you can find a link over to it, regardless of if we change it. But right now, it's dailyattunement.com. And it's an app. It's a meditation app. So you can find attunements in there. You can find meditations. And it's 14 days free. So what I do is sign up for it, get the 14 days for free, and then use the coupon after that and get like the 50% off. The Skeptic's Guide to Your Spiritual Credit Score should be called The Skeptic's Guide to the Snow Globe because they're the exact same book, except my dad is like super gnarly, dogmatic Christian, and people who are like not Christian anymore are like, I want to strangle your dad. Like, so like I wanted to be able to give my editor, who's my agent, who's also Eckhart Tolle and Neil Donald Walsh, the one that got me with Hay House. My dad met him on the golf course. That's Bill Gladstone, and him and I did the Skeptic's Guide series. So we have like Skeptic's Guide to Spiritual Credit Score. We've got like Skeptic's Guide to Heaven. Like, so he just asked me questions as a skeptic, and then I just did channel, and then I wake up like 2 hours later and go, what happened? And so like the information that comes through is like, I'm like, dude, I didn't even know like what a perturbation was, or like a atomic structure of a blah, blah, blah. Like, but it comes out of my mouth. I'm like, what? And that's why Bill thinks it's so crazy. He's like, you're like this valley girl that loves to go shopping, that drives like a Mercedes. And like, you're like, oh my God. And then like, I go into trance and I'm like, and the physics of the planet, So it's like, and I don't remember anything that I say. So I'll barely remember this interview.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Don't worry. I have the recording. I'll send it over to you as well. And everyone else has it here. So we're good to go.
Yeah, we're giving away those books because I wanted them to have kind of like the religious version and then like the book so that they can do the snow globe. And then the audios are my dad reading it. And then my dad and Bill reading the Skeptic Guide to the Spiritual Credit Score. And those are like $25. Like they're actually published like a real company and everything. And So it's it's like $150 worth of stuff. So it's pretty good.
Wow. Thank you, Marisa. And thank you so much for being here with us. I don't even know how long this was. We went overboard, but hopefully no one will mind. And I loved it. Honestly, I've learned tons. I'm going to definitely have to rewatch this recording like 3 times.
I know you should too.
Right? Thank you. And thank you everyone for watching. We appreciate having you here. Mwah.
All right. Thank you. Mwah.